Welcome back. Welcome back to the Experts Podcast. Some might say it was a hot girl summer. Some might say it was a hot boy summer. And some might say it was a hot reading summer.
Oh, well, why do you say that?
Because, Nick, I read quite a bit. And, you know, I know it's fall, so I just needed to take some time to analyze and reflect on the thoughts that I experienced throughout the summer, you know, because I read a lot.
You read a lot?
Like, okay. Oh my God. More than I've ever read. It really feels good.
It does feel good to read a book, right? You get this sense of like, it's almost like a dopamine release. Like you feel a sense of accomplishment when you read a book. Mm-hmm. So what were these books? How many did you read?
Oh, I read a lot. I read significant numbers.
I know this guy.
Yeah, that's right. Let me just take a step back again. The feeling of accomplishment that I feel right now is overwhelming. My cup, I want the audience to picture me as a cup. And before the books, I was like maybe 1/4 full. Now I'm overflowing with both knowledge, empathy, and love, you know?
Wow. All from reading a book. The power of reading. Whoa.
So,
with a Z.
Yeah. Books with a Z. I just hit those covers hard. So look, I read not one, not two, but 3 books this summer.
What's up? This is the Experts Podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jake. We're experts who know everything,
but we don't agree on any of it.
Holy shit, 3 books? Dude, honestly, congrats. In this post-social media world where it's easier to just scroll, you sat down and read 3 books? That's amazing, man. That's truly amazing. I'm very proud of you. I really mean that.
I really appreciate that. You know, this was something that I didn't think, speaking of postmodern, I didn't think my postmodern brain could handle it. I thought I would be like, gonna read a TikTok, gonna read, you know, like instead of reading a book. So I instead of reading TikToks, I decided to flip the conversation,
flip the switch,
flip the page, maybe.
Oh, you know, snap, dude!
You know, metaphorically, of course, and because I've been reading. But yeah, so it's been a wild ride. I forced myself. I said, Jake, now you better get to reading tonight. You better get to reading. I put on my AirPods, you know, for concentration, and I would just have at it, you know, just go wild. And it was crazy too, because like I really didn't think I could enjoy something like this so much. You know, I always thought of reading as this sort of thing where you had to just like stay in one place and just like really grind it out and try and learn.
Focus on it and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, come on, man, who wants to do that? I just want to know what happens. You know, that's it.
Okay, that's fair. So it makes it all the more impressive that you did do that stuff then, right?
Yeah. No, it does. I gained a lot of empathy in this process, you know, because I was reading with a capital WR, reading. So I should probably say the first book I read, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, by a New York Times bestseller. I really read that, and, you know, it gained me a lot of empathy for gaining more money. You know, I just really wanted to gain a lot of money. You know, I really feel that I should absolutely pour all of my time and energy into making money forever. And that leads me into the second book that I read, Money, Master the Game, by Tony Robbins. Ugh, Tony Robbins, man. Tony Robbins, man.
Yeah.
What a beautiful man.
even though, you can't hear his voice since you're reading it, he has such a powerful voice on the page that you can almost like pretend you're hearing it while you read the words.
Nick, my imagination has no bounds, and I can hear his voice.
Oh, wow.
That's just, it sings to me. It sings with a capital Z. It's something that I cannot describe until you've done what I've done and read 3 books over the course of an entire summer. You will never know the feeling of imagining a man who is totally firm in his monetary and economic values, just espousing his beautiful ideas and imagery to you.
Right.
And you just won't know. I mean, like I can hear his voice so clearly when I read. It's actually amazing. I can hear it with perfect clarity with a capital K.
Yeah.
I really can. So anyway, as I was finishing up reading about money, there was one thing I really wanted to just sort of become more fluent in.
Okay. Yeah.
I decided I was going to really dig deep, just go into the backlogs, so to speak, read a classic.
Yeah.
I really wanted to read a classic.
What's this classic?
Yeah. So I decided really, now's the time. Hot book summer.
Yeah. You're 2 for 2. What's your third?
The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wait, you read that with your bare eyes?
Yeah, I read it with my bare eyes because, as we know, all men constantly think about the Roman Empire.
Jake, that's a really hard book to read.
It was, dude, let me tell you, it was so hard. I slept with a capital Z and breathed with a capital WR this book. I actually was pretty bored by it, though, if I'm being completely honest.
It takes kind of like a high level of intelligence to really comprehend what that book is trying to offer. And you actually sat down and read that.
Well, that was the thing. It was so long and, breathtaking that I actually had to always be reading it every hour of the day, even when I slept. Literally, when I slept.
Wait, how do you do that?
Oh, it's easy. You can read when you do dishes. You can read when you cook. You can read when you podcast. I just put like an AirPod in.
And how do you spell AirPod?
AirPod with a capital ER.
And you read these books?
Yeah, I read them. I put my AirPod in, I hit play on the Audible app, and then I let her rip, and I fly through the pages. And so the Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire, it took a long time. I'm not sure I really understand any of it, but I got through it, and that's all that matters. That's literally all that matters about reading, right? Just saying you got through it.
But wait. But you said that you read it all day, even while you were asleep. I'm just trying to understand, like, how that's even conceptually possible.
Oh, it was easy. You just hit play on the Audible app with a capital
Audible.
With a capital O.
You didn't read them.
What are you talking about? Yeah, of course I did.
But that's not what the whole point of Audible is, that those are audiobooks.
Yeah, for reading.
That's not reading, my friend.
Am I reading you correctly with my ears? This is reading with a capital WR. I don't really see how you're right here. This isn't.
Read my lips, boy. You are not reading my voice.
Nick, I'm sorry. This is messed up.
You just can't read. All right. So, I'm sorry, man. Audiobooks, while I support the innovation, It's just not reading, and that's okay. It's just not reading, though. You didn't read the books.
I think I did.
No, you
Would
didn't.
I-
The whole point of an audiobook is that, like, somebody read them to you, and you just sat there with your legs crossed. In theory, you may have been doing laundry, you may have been doing dishes, whatever. Somebody else read the book at you.
But don't you think it, like, what's the difference, though? I mean, really, like, somebody's reading it, you're reading it, we're all reading it, you know? In the end, the information's still there, minus maybe the nighttime parts of Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire and the parts where we were doing other stuff. But I just kind of left it in there as background noise. But the information's still in there, I'm sure. I might have to dig a little deep, but...
I mean, I see what you're saying, but look. Say you're 3 years old and your mom reads you the entire series of Harry Potter. She's not going to go around and be like, my 3-year-old read all the Harry Potter books, right? Because you didn't. Because
that's
your mom
exactly
read them
what my
to
mom
you.
did. That's exactly what my mom...
But then you're like, but Mom, you're lying. I didn't read them. You read them to me, and I listened, and it was always before bedtime every night.
That's not what I did. I said, yes, I read them. I retained the information. I learned the magic, and she gave it to me.
Okay, so that's the difference, is that I'm not saying that you didn't consume the story, the education, the themes, everything that it has to offer. That's true. When you listen to a story, when you listen to an audiobook, you're still digesting everything it has to offer as if you read it. Like, you're getting the story. You're experiencing the book itself.
Okay.
But you didn't read it.
I don't understand.
You didn't read it. How do you even define reading? It's like sitting and staring at words, and in America, your eyes go from the left page to the right page. In other countries, it might be the opposite. But the point is, you're looking at a sentence, you're using your eyes. There's some magical formula in which your brain translates the visual symbols of the English language into a conceptually understandable, whatever it does. There's some magic shit where your brain takes a visual language and converts it into something you can understand mentally, right? That's reading. I'm not saying that, like, when you listen to something, you're not also using your brain to convert it into this mental understanding, but it's doing it from an audible standpoint. It's just a whole different process.
Dude, yeah. I mean, like, look, I can read. I can definitely read. That's why for every audiobook, I always buy the actual book so that I can put it on my bookshelf and show people all the reading I did. And I can do it. Like, I can... Dude, look at this. I'm opening up a book now. Like, what? It's just like harder though. Like,
but dude,
why would
that's a big fat L-Y.
Wait, it's a Y?
It's an L-Y, dude. You're just lying to everyone. L-Y-I-N-G.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I knew that that's how you spell that. Just like I know how to read. But look, I just think you're really, I think you're just really missing the point of reading, because the point is this, Nick. You want to be able to go to your friend after Hot Book Summer and brag about all the cool books you read at a very brief surface level. You want to just say the number, because it's going to be a big and impressive number.
And that's reading?
That's reading to me. I mean, at the end of the day, did you read any books this summer? This Hot Book Summer?
Well, I'm still like a quarter of the way through the book I started. So, yeah, I mean, look, I get it. But I'm actually reading it with my eyes. And so what? It takes more time. Whatever.
And you're doing that the old-fashioned way of reading.
I guess it is old-fashioned, but call me a traditionalist. Call me a constitutionalist. Call me a loser, all right? I like to read the way the semantics tell me I should read.
Wait, but do you actually like to read? I didn't realize that was what it was at stake here.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever sat in the park with the fresh breeze and it's so beautiful? And instead of looking around, you stare at a white page with words on it. Like, it's incredible, man. It's so relaxing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And then, like, when you're in a beautiful city park where birds are tweeting and humans are interacting, and you just say, I just want to get out of this and not look at any of the stuff going on around me. And, you put your AirPods in and you start reading.
I guess that is one approach. I mean, is it really look, if I read a book with my eyes and you read a book with your ears, we could argue that we got the same story, right? But I read it and you story timed it.
Oh.
That's story time. That's like in kindergarten when your teacher would read you a book, like, you didn't go home and said, Mom, I read this book during story time.
You're right. In a weird way, you're right. Maybe I've just been reading for the wrong reasons. Maybe it doesn't matter if I listen or read, but maybe I need better motives for reading. In fact, maybe I should just stop reading if I'm actually not ingesting the information. It doesn't matter whether I listened or read. I actually can't remember a word any of these books said.
You know what's much easier to digest and to comprehend than reading a book, whether it's through your eyes or your ears, is TV. Because you need both. You get to use both, your eyes and your ears. Reading is stupid. It's just one. It's one or
so
the
dumb.
other.
Unless it's a podcast, in which case it's way better.
A podcast is objectively, like, no argument. Listen to our podcast. We're not even going to tell you to read it. Just listen to it.
Just listen. Yeah. Although if you read it too, that's okay. But make sure you're actively engaging in the socials. So I think at the end of the day, I probably didn't really gain anything at all from this process.
But that's just because you don't know how to read, it sounds like.
Dude, I know. Trust me.
I also think that from the way it sounds, I mean, you said you can read a book while sleeping, dude?
Yeah.
How many books will I be able to read if I could do it while sleeping? Maybe you're onto something here. I think I'm going to give this audiobook thing a try.
Really?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, if you claim it's reading, which, hey, it's all about the bragging rights, right? You don't even need to be conscious to read a book. I'm in. Reading's boring, dude. If I can do it while I'm unconscious, let's go, dude. And then, in like a year from now, maybe I'll have done 3 books too.
You'll have a hot book summer.
A hot book year, baby.
A hot book year.
See if I can do even 4 books in a year. Woo! That'd be like a world record, I think.
So So do my ears deceive me?
No, they do not.
Do you finally accept that you can read an audiobook?
If the world accepts it and I can brag about it, then who gives a shit, dude? We live in a bragging world now. Everyone just wants to be like, I'm the best. You know what? If reading audiobooks gets me there, why would I fight that? Everyone's trying to be the best. I could do that too.
Yeah, well, I thought about your earlier arguments, and I disagree now. I really think that reading is reading when you sit down and look at it, but what I did is listening. So
it's a much more honorable way to approach reading. Like, let's be honest. Sitting down and reading a book, that's a fucking honor. The problem is we don't give a shit about honors anymore. When was the last time you fucking heard about some kid who was an honors student? No one gives a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Honors don't matter. The only thing that matters is having a lot of likes and followers and podcast listeners, maybe? I don't know.
Podcast listeners are a great metric.
That at least we agree on the fact that you don't have to read, you don't have to sit down and waste your time. Just listen to the podcast. You can multitask on it. You can do it while you're asleep. You can do it while you're in the car. You can do it while you're taking a shit. You can do it while you talk shit about the podcast. You can actually talk shit about the Experts podcast while listening to it.
It's pretty wild. It's amazing the doors it can unlock. So it sounds like we've reached sort of a understanding. You can read an audiobook, but the honor level is bottom of the shelf. Whereas when you actually sit down and read, that's top of the shelf. And I guess if you have the book and listen to it while it's being read to you, that's like mid-shelf. So there are different levels of honor. You're really not in a high honorable position if you listen to an audiobook. But you know what? That's okay, because then you get bragging rights.
Yes. I think we're on the same page here. It's an honor to read, right? And listening to an audiobook is reading, but it's cheating. But I think the beauty is we've collectively as a society accepted cheating. It's cool now. You can do it to become president, the highest seat in the world.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's okay. Right?
Honor is dead.
Yeah, it is. And it all starts with reading audiobooks.